a lot of people, because we haven't had an economic decline start yet, have changed their forecast from a hard landing to soft landing, and a lot of others have changed it from soft landing to no landing. I haven't changed mine at all. The fact that it hasn't happened yet doesn't change the probability, if it does happen, of the depth of it. I mean, basically, $10 trillion, $5 trillion monetary, $5 trillion fiscal was put in during COVID. What has happened is that created this giant stock of liquidity. I think Jamie Dimon said a couple years ago there were $2.5 trillion excess demand deposits. We've been working that liquidity off slowly. That liquidity shrink was interrupted when Bank of Japan changed YCC. They went in and they bought $400 billion worth of bonds to defend their bond market. Very odd situation. They raised rates, but then liquidity exploded on it. And then obviously the debt ceiling. Secretary Yellen drew down the TGA, that's basically the Treasury Savings Account, from $700 billion to practically nothing last week. That also ended up in non-issuance of government debt, so that was a big boost to liquidity. All that is set to change now. Actually, the TGA is going to go the other way. She's already stated she wants to build it back up to normal levels, so you're going to have probably about $800 billion in treasuries issued between now and year end. The Fed will be continuing on with QT. You've got the student loan thing, which I think has kept consumption up. That's all changing in September. They're going to have to actually, God forbid, in the United States, somebody actually pays interest on a loan. So to me, the probabilities haven't changed. It's been pushed out relative to expectations, but in no way does the fact that it hasn't started yet change the probability of whether it's going to be hard or soft. I would actually argue, since it's taken so long, the Fed has ended up with a higher terminal rate. And in fact, inflation gets stickier the longer it stays in the system, that it increases, not decreases, the probability of a hard landing. By the way, after the 87 crash, I was convinced we're going to have depression. So I've been wrong before, and if I'm wrong on this, I'll adjust. But I have to weigh the probabilities and do what I do with my process, and right now, that's where we are.
And when?